What's up, cat lovers? Hit that subscribe button because Kevin's story is going to show you that home isn't always a place, sometimes it's a feeling, and sometimes a cat brings that feeling with them. Let me take you out on the open road, because that's where Kevin lived. Kevin was a long-haul truck driver. Had been for 12 years. Started right after high school, never looked back. He loved it at first, the freedom, the solitude, the changing scenery. He'd drive from California to Maine, Texas to Montana, seeing the whole country from his cab. No boss looking over his shoulder, no office politics, just him and the road and the radio. It felt like freedom. But 12 years in, at 30, Kevin was starting to realize that freedom and loneliness look a lot alike when you're living them. He had an apartment in Omaha that he saw maybe once a month. It wasn't really home, just a place to store stuff and crash between routes. He didn't have close friends anymore. Everyone from high school had moved on, built lives, gotten married, had kids. Kevin would see their Facebook posts from truck stops, their normal lives, and feel like he was watching from another planet. Dating was impossible. Who wants to date someone who's gone 3 weeks out of 4? He'd tried a few times. Never worked out. The money was decent. Their work was steady. But Kevin was starting to feel like a ghost. Like he was passing through the world without actually being part of it. He'd go days without having a real conversation with anyone. Just brief interactions with dispatchers, loading dock workers, gas station clerks. Polite exchanges that meant nothing. He was starting to forget what connection felt like. What mattering to someone felt like. Summer 2021. Kevin was on a route through Arizona, middle of nowhere, one of those long stretches where you don't see another car for miles. He pulled into a rest stop around midnight to catch a few hours of sleep before pushing on. These rest stops were his bedroom most nights, just him, his sleeping bag, and the hum of the truck engine cooling down. He was settling in when he heard scratching on his truck door. Figured it was wind, ignored it. But it kept happening. Scratch, 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 insistent. He opened the door, expecting to see nothing. Instead, there was this scraggly orange and white cat sitting on the step of his truck, looking up at him like, "Took you long enough." The cat was skinny, dirty, obviously been surviving rough out here in the desert. But those eyes, bright green and incredibly intelligent, they locked onto Kevin's with this intensity that made him feel seen for the first time in months. Kevin stared at this cat. The cat stared back. "You lost, buddy." The cat meowed. Not a small meow, a loud, demanding one. Kevin laughed. "Yeah, I feel you." He didn't have cat food. Didn't have much people food either, honestly. But he had some beef jerky. Gave a piece to the cat. The cat devoured it, then sat there clearly waiting for more. Kevin gave him the rest of the package. The cat ate it all, licked his paws, then jumped up into Kevin's cab like he'd been invited. "Whoa, hey, I didn't say you could," but the cat had already settled into the passenger seat, curling up like that was his spot now, like this had always been the plan. And Kevin stood there in the Arizona darkness, looking at this cat who'd just decided they were traveling together now, and he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Less alone. Connected. Needed. He named him Buddy. Simple, fitting. That first week traveling with Buddy was an adjustment. Kevin had to figure out logistics, litter box situation, solved with a shallow plastic bin and some sand from rest stops, food, gas station can tuner until he could get to a pet store, water, bowl that wouldn't tip over. His dispatcher gave him hell about it at first. "You can't have a cat in the truck." But Kevin didn't care. For the first time in years, he had company. Real company. He wasn't getting rid of Buddy. Buddy turned out to be the perfect road trip companion. He'd sit in the passenger seat, watching the highway like he was co-piloting. He'd sleep curled up on Kevin's sleeping bag during rest stops. He'd meow to let Kevin know when he needed a pit stop, and yes, Kevin learned to read cat communication for bathroom breaks. It was weird. It was perfect. It was exactly what Kevin hadn't known he needed. Here's what changed: Kevin started talking again. Not to other people, to Buddy. He'd narrate the drive. "See those mountains, Buddy? That's the Rockies. Beautiful, right?" He'd tell Buddy about his day, his frustrations, his thoughts. And Buddy would listen, occasionally responding with a meow or a chirp, and Kevin would respond back. They'd have full conversations. To an outside observer, Kevin looked crazy, this trucker talking to his cat. But Kevin didn't care. He wasn't lonely anymore. Kevin started taking better care of himself. He'd eat better because he was stopping at grocery stores for Buddy's food anyway, might as well get himself real food too. He'd keep the truck cleaner because Buddy deserved a clean space. He'd take walks at rest stops because Buddy needed some time outside the cab, needed to stretch and explore on his leash. Yes, Kevin got Buddy a harness and leash, taught him to walk on it. Other truckers thought he was insane. Kevin thought he was finally sane. About 6 months into traveling with Buddy, Kevin was at a truck stop in Tennessee. Another driver, older guy, saw Buddy in the cab and started talking to Kevin about it. Turned out he'd traveled with a cat for years before she passed. They talked for an hour about life on the road, about loneliness, about how pets make this lifestyle sustainable. Before they parted ways, the older driver said something Kevin still thinks about: "A truck ain't a home. But a truck with a cat who chose you. That's as close to home as we get out here." Kevin started connecting with other truckers more. Turned out there was this whole community of drivers with pets. They'd share tips, swap stories, meet up at certain truck stops. Kevin made actual friends for the first time in years. All because Buddy gave him something to talk about, something to connect over. The cat who'd been surviving alone in the Arizona desert had somehow made Kevin less alone in his. 2 years after finding Buddy, Kevin made a big decision. He was tired of long haul. Tired of being gone for weeks, of living out of his truck. But he'd stayed with it because what else did he have? Where else would he go? His apartment in Omaha wasn't home. But now he had Buddy. And Buddy deserved stability. Deserved a real home. So Kevin took a job doing regional routes, home every weekend, shorter trips during the week. He got a small house outside Omaha with a yard. Set it up for Buddy, cat trees, window perches, toys everywhere. And for the first time in 12 years, Kevin had a home that actually felt like home. Because Buddy was there. Kevin told me something that really stuck with me. He said, "Before Buddy, I thought I liked being alone. Thought I was built for the solitary life. But I wasn't alone by choice, I was alone because I'd convinced myself I wasn't worth connecting with. That I was too different, too isolated, too far outside normal life to matter to anyone. Buddy showed me that was garbage. He chose me. This cat, surviving in the middle of nowhere, could have walked away. Could have found someone else. But he chose my truck, my company, me. And if a cat thinks I'm worth sticking with, maybe I am. That's the power of being chosen by a cat. It's proof that you're worthy of love, of companionship, of loyalty. Not because you earned it or deserved it based on some objective criteria, but just because you're you. Cats are incredible judges of character. They don't care about your job or your bank account or your social status. They care about your energy, your heart, your essence. And when they choose you, it means something. Buddy is 5 years old now. Still rides in Kevin's truck on his shorter routes, still sits in that passenger seat like a co-pilot. But now he also has a home base. A warm house with sunny windows and a yard full of birds to watch. Kevin's dating someone seriously for the first time in years, someone who loves that he has a cat, who gets the whole story. Kevin's built a life that actually feels like a life, not just an existence. And it all traces back to that midnight in Arizona when a scraggly orange and white cat scratched on his truck door and changed everything. Here's my question for you: when did you realize you weren't actually okay with being alone? What made you understand that isolation wasn't freedom, it was just isolation? And what finally broke through that? For Kevin, it was Buddy. For you, what was it? Drop it in the comments because these stories matter. Because someone needs to hear that you can spend years convincing yourself you're fine with being alone, and then something, a cat, a person, a moment, shows you what connection feels like, and everything changes. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hit that like button if Kevin's story resonated, subscribe for more tales from the road and beyond, and tonight, appreciate whatever brought you home, whether that home is a place or a feeling or a cat who won't let you be lonely anymore. Until next time, remember, you're worth choosing. You're worth staying for. Sometimes you just need a cat to remind you. Meow for now.